is Love Marlene 411 and welcome to the Sip and Chat. And we have my co-host, Miss Nexie.
Hello, Miss Marlene. Hello, everyone. Hope you guys had a great week, and I hope, Miss Marlene, that you and your family had a wonderful week and are doing well and are getting ready for the weekend.
Yes, 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 and yes. I'm
Somebody said that.
I am so happy it's the weekend, Miss Nexie. You have no idea. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
I love the weekend and the week now because, just stay home, do nothing and
Mm-hmm.
just rest, Some of us taking, our year off and just enjoy.
So it's taking
So, weekend, no weekend. For me, the whole week is a weekend.
you. Oh, throw it in my face. Why don't you throw it in
Actually,
my
it's
face?
driving me crazy, and you know it, Miss Marling is driving me crazy.
Hey Tasha, how are you doing?
Hello,
Welcome to
Tasha.
the Sip and Chat. Okay, so Miss Next, we have a really good topic, but before we do all of that, I gotta ask you a question.
You do your little question.
Okay, Miss Nexie, what are you sipping on?
Miss Marlene, cranberry juice on ice.
Ooh.
Over ice. I didn't want to take the drink straight. I wanted it over ice. It's a little hot today, so and I was like, I'm gonna be just bad today. I'm gonna have everything that I want and enjoy. So I put a little bit of cran grape juice, and
Ooh.
it's so delicious. So I have it over ice, and I'm over here like just enjoying it, and see, talking to
Oh,
Miss
I heard.
Marlene.
Oh,
Look at that.
I heard some ASMR. Did y'all hear
Yes, me yes. And I said, today is, oh yeah, I'm sorry, the weekend for me.
that?
I
Oh.
just wanted to have some. I don't like to drink it all the time because, it has a lot of sugar.
Mm-hmm.
But today is one of those days that it's hot and it's a weird, day because we got rain coming our way. So it's kind of like, um, cloudy, but then the sun comes out and then it gets cloudy again, like it's gonna rain, and then it goes away, and it's weird and it's hot and it feels kind of humid, I guess, because of the clouds and stuff. So that's what we're going through right now. And I said, I need cranberry juice, and that's what I'm having. How about you, Miss Marlene? What are you sipping on? Oh my lord, she even cleared her throat. This is gonna be good. Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. This is what I have to say, Miss Nexie. I have some beautiful organic pineapple juice with I know Miss Nexie, I know you can't have pineapple juice, but I'm having pineapple juice on ice. I have been taking a year from alcohol and just focusing on my health and just living my life without alcohol. It's just for me.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah. So working on myself, Miss Nexie.
As we
So
should be, right?
yep, yep. I want to know myself that I don't need those things. Just me personally, Miss Nexie. I'm not saying for anybody else.
You
I'm
know,
speaking on for myself.
yeah, and again, it's everything is personal, right? Whatever you do for you, it has to be personal. It's not that everybody has to follow your lead, but if you, that's what you want to do. I don't drink, I don't drink really, so I don't. But then I do drink or drank a lot of coffee, and that's the one thing that I said in the beginning of the year. I'm gonna start cutting off, because I used to have 3, 4 cups a day, right? And
Hmm.
now I'm up, one, maybe two a day.
Wow.
So I cut that. And in most days, it's just the 1 cup in the morning, and I don't have another one till the next morning. So for me it was coffee, Miss Marlene. What you're doing, with alcohol, I had to cut down, and
Mhm.
because that was affecting me. I was go 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 go, and I couldn't relax because I had so much coffee in my system. So I said I'm gonna stop. Not all of it. I'm not going to be that crazy, but I have to stop drinking so much. So many cups of coffee,
Yeah.
and I did. I did it. It took
I'm
me a
so
little bit.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Miss.
So, because this channel is all about personal growth and development and, talking about things that you need to talk about. And, everybody goes through different things. That's what this channel is about, getting things off of your chest. And me and Miss Nexie, we are not therapists. We are not, telling anybody how to live their life, but we share openly our experiences from some of the things that we have been through, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So today's topic, Miss Nexie, is ladies, he wasn't confused, he was comfortable.
Ooh.
Mm. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a background.
Ooh.
Okay.
Go
I'm
on, go on.
I'm going to give you a little bit of a background as the reason why for today's topic. Today, I wanted to talk to the ladies because a lot of times we as women, we will make excuses for our men. Oh, he's busy. He's going through a lot. He's this, he's that. But we don't go into the things about what it actually is, you know? The
Mm-hmm.
real honest, okay, is he a good match for you? Is he helping you? Is he helping you to grow, or is it that he's always sucking you dry?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. And
Mm.
and that takes a lot of personal growth and development to be honest with yourself and to say that I am allowing this man to use me and to take advantage of me, and I settle because I feel that this is the best that I deserve. Now, I'm not speaking for anybody but myself, but I know for sure when I was doing a lot of settling in romantic relationship, it was because I did not believe that I deserved better than that.
you know,
Yeah.
for me, again, since we're going into our personal view of the topic, right? I I allowed a lot of times things that I knew um uh, that was, you know, garbage coming out of them, lies, and I will just make excuses for certain behaviors, right? A good example, Miss Marlene, is if we had somewhere to go, right? Let's say a group of our friends, we were gonna go to the theater and to watch a movie, and you know we had to spend on that. And did you purchase the tickets ahead of time? Oh no, we didn't. Oh, so we're gonna have to go buy them over there? Yeah, we will. Oh, okay. Then all of a sudden, you know what? I don't feel well. If you want, you can go, but really, I don't feel well. If I would have had the tickets, it would have been no problem because I had already paid for the tickets,
Hmm.
right? So, again, for years and years and years, things like this, very small things that, it would have been okay with me to pay for them or not, or dinner or whatever. It would have not mattered, right? But the excuses or the actions that this person took, it was hurtful sometimes because I'll be like, it was only a $20 ticket. Like, really? It was a $15 dinner, right? Or so, we go through all these things that it doesn't make it a big deal. And it shouldn't be a big deal. As a couple, you have the right to say, you know what, I don't feel good, you go. Or, I can't because I have one of the kiddos is sick, you go, right? You have the right to say those things. I don't want to go, you go, or whatever. But when it comes, like every other time that you guys go out, or or there's an attitude, so that once you're there, you don't talk much, you're not having a good time, good conversation, and therefore I'm not having a good time because you know what I mean? Like
Yep.
things like that. I I opted towards the end of probably the last 6, 7 years of the relationship. I opted for let's not go. Oh, don't you want to go? Nope, I'm cool. Because I knew, or on vacation or whatever, I knew it was gonna be something. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And I didn't want to make excuses anymore for that type of behavior. I didn't want to say, "Ah, it's okay." You know what? He's so into, like you said, that project right now. He's having a hard time at work, blah, blah, blah. Because I had a hard time at work too. I was having a hard time too. I was having a lot of, I was leaving pretty much at work, right? I had the kids too, like we were raising our children. So I started like saying, why am I going to go? And because I will go on vacation, Miss Marlene, I will come back so stressed out from those behaviors that he will have that I said, no, my kids don't deserve this. They don't need this. I come back even more tired
Hmm.
because of that behavior and the way this person was. It wasn't a vacation, it was like a boot camp. It was so weird. So I said no. I started saying no, no, no. You know what? Not now. Maybe in a year or so. We need the money. We can't. Blah blah blah. The kids are, going to university now. We need to save money, whatever. But I started saying no to a lot of those things. And I would say, you go have fun. Yeah, go with your friends. Go fishing, whatever it is that you want to do. Go, 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 go. Because it was so much more better for me to stay home, have peace of mind, enjoy my time with my kiddos, and not have the constant nagging of that person. I don't know.
Hmm. Miss Nexie, when we're saying this, I do have to preface this conversation by saying we are not male bashing, we're not male haters. We are talking about the men that are toxic, the
Mm,
ones that always have the expectation that, well, you do it.
mhm.
It's there's no what you call it, there's no balance in the relationship. And sometimes, ladies, let's be honest, we think that he can't do it as good, I'll just do it. And then you'll be complaining and saying, I'm so overwhelmed.
Yep.
It's the control part in us. If we're going to have an honest conversation, we're going to have it all. Because sometimes, ladies, will be overwhelmed and stressed out, but we don't talk about what we want. We also don't allow the man to be a man. But at the same time, there has to be mutual respect, mutual support. And that's one of the things that this discussion I want to be about, for empowerment for other ladies, to not allow who you're in a relationship for them it to be so like that there's no fire in the relationship. Anybody who's been in a long-term relationship for a long time knows what I'm talking about. The beginning of the relationship, hot and heavy, sparks are flying. And then after a while, years pass, you have kids or issues and stuff. The relationship kind of gets stagnant. And it's like there's no, oh, let's go out to eat, to dinner, let's do this, let's go on a vacation. You're not dressing up for one another, all of those things. You know what I mean, Miss Nexie?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
So that's what I'm talking about today in this conversation, for us to, as women, to stop pretending. And we know that that man is just comfortable in the relationship because you don't ask for things. Come on, ladies, let's be honest. We don't ask for the things that we actually want, you know. I want this vacation. I need for you to do this as a man, blah blah blah, whatever it is. And for us to not feel like we are whatever type A personality, as they call us, right? That
Ah,
we're type A personalities because we are assertive and we're asking for what we want, but also at the same time, it has to be a mutual respect.
yeah,
To,
that
yeah,
should be at the very front of, respect. Mutual respect is necessary. It's very important. And Miss Marlene, one time I remember years after I was married, and my siblings were married, and some of the family members. I remember um someone in my family, my extended family. I said, why don't you help your wife? I mean, seriously, she has, she's carrying the baby, and she's doing like cooking and stuff like that. And why don't you, why doesn't she ask you, or why don't you go help her? And then he's like, I don't know, she just doesn't ask me. And I said, oh, that's weird. And so I grabbed the baby from her, and I'm like, why don't you ask him to help you, while you're cooking? Because it's dangerous, right? Because you have the baby here, you can burn the baby, whatever. And it's not, and it's dangerous for you as well because you can burn yourself in case the baby touches something. You know what I mean? Like, it's
yeah.
dangerous. And she said, I got tired of asking him to help me. I got tired. I just got tired. We have three kids, and every time, I'm cooking, cleaning, whatever, and I ask him, hey, can you watch him for a minute? And, he goes outside, and he allows the kids to come in and out and rush, ask me for things, and, baby's crying. He's not helping. So I got tired. And so I tell, my cousin, I said, how dare you? Like, why don't you, like, why didn't you, or why don't you help her? Why didn't you help her? And and he said, well, you know what, she kept on asking me to help, and I'm tired. I go to work all day. She stays here with the kids, and I'm tired, and she keeps on asking me when I get home. So I continue to say no, and eventually she got tired of asking. So she doesn't ask me anymore. So if she doesn't ask, why am I going to offer?
Mhm.
That was his response. And I was like, so you were doing it like on purpose? Yeah, I knew eventually she was going to get tired. I was like, she was going to give up, he said. And I was like, what the? You are something. I go, who raised you?
Wow.
Seriously, who raised you?
But also, Miss Nexie, we can't blame the man. Like I was saying earlier, you have to assert yourself, of course, with the respect. I'm not talking about being a nagging woman and and complaining and arguing,
No.
because this channel, we talk about things. It's reciprocated. We're not
Yeah.
asking for anything unreasonable. Just like a man wants to be respected, so does a woman. But also at the same time, a lot of the stress and the overwhelm, the over how you feel so overwhelmed, is because most women do not say I feel this way, because they're gonna be, the man's gonna, oh, here we go, oh, I never do anything right and stuff like that.
Again, it's a two-way street, right? Sometimes we can be that equation in our marriages or our relationship. We can be the ones, right, that are not helping, that are not being, in the relationship, that are being the toxic person in it, and draining that person too. It can be both ways. We're not saying just, the men do this, or whatever, just the other person, but we can be that person too, that it's annoying, and troublesome, whatever it is that we are. But a lot of times, because we we maybe we were the wants and needs, we weren't asking them the right way. They sounded more like demands or nagging, or you know what I mean, to the other person. Sometimes we give up because you say, oh my god, I already told them, or I already asked them, da, 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 da. And maybe the times that you have asked is it's in the wrong tone, or at the wrong time, or wrong place sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they say, oh, here she goes again nagging. We don't allow them to maybe find the right place, the right time, the right moment, atmosphere to say, hey, you know what, we need to talk. Not in
Mm-hmm.
a nagging way, right? But we need to talk. This is what I need from you, and tell me what you need from me.
Yes, mutual respect and consideration. And that's the essential part of a healthy relationship. And a lot of people will think, well, they're not saying anything or they're not requesting. Just because a person is with you, it does not automatically default to that person is happy in the relationship. And I think that's the thing that people will default to. Oh, they're happy and they're this and they're that. A lot of times, on both sides, Miss Nexie, men and women get comfortable in a relationship because they just assume everything is okay. And we can't just let relationships be in that assumption thing. Because I grew up with like that in my childhood, seeing my parents were like that. Oh, my mom never asked ever for help.
Those gender roles, right? Like, oh my
Yeah.
god, break the mold. It's not a permanent thing. You're not supposed to deal with.
Yeah. It's like if you're for me, Miss Nexie, and I'm not trying to put my thoughts on everybody, but in my opinion, in a healthy relationship, especially if a relationship where you have kids, it's supposed to be something like, okay, yeah, okay, you came in from work, but does your wife or significant other, do they work too?
Mhm,
Like, are the kids taken care of? It has to be each having their needs met. And trust me, I get it. Going to work, it's stressful, but also it's stressful for the women who they go to work, or the ones that are there full time, and they never get a break to have an adult conversation. And I'm not going to assume and say all men think this way,
no,
but
of course not.
a lot of times it will be, well, you're the mother, so everything must be okay, and the kids are fed and the place is clean, so everything is okay. But what about, is my wife okay? How is
Hmm.
she coping with her day? And those are the things in relationships that you can't just keep eating that and absorbing it. I know that I personally did that in a previous relationship, like assuming they've been with me all this time. They should know. They should know I'm stressed out. Can't they see I'm stressed out? No, ladies. No, no,
Mhm.
no.
Again, it, and I know that, and we have talked about this in previous sip and chats, Miss Marlene, where I say that, the breakup of my, marriage, it wasn't just his side, it was me as well, right? We both, made mistakes. But I think the biggest one that I made in that relationship is just go along with everything to avoid, arguments, confrontations, to why am I going to waste my time talking? It's not going to change anything. He's not going to change. He's not going to fix it. It's not going to do anything. So I'm just going to go with the motions, whatever it is, just so that,
Yes. I do know exactly how you feel. And I was just putting something in the chat, to encourage all of the ladies to have the conversation with your man, whether it's your husband, your boyfriend, your whatever the label that you put on your relationship, but have a conversation about how is the relationship going? Are we happy? What are some of the things that we need to work on? And it's not just our side, ladies. Also, how does are his needs being met? Is he happy? Because when two people in the relationship are happy, then the relationship is happy. It can't just be that your husband or boyfriend or whoever is happy and you're over here on the side overwhelmed with your hair standing up straight on your head. Miss Nexie, are you there? Can you guys hear me? Please let me know in the comments. I think it's still going. I don't know. You guys let me know if you can still hear me. I hope the audio didn't go out, but I'm just going to keep talking until somebody says they can hear me. But that's one of the things that I had to learn. I had to learn to, not be ignorant, but to be a good communicator and to not expect for who you're with to be a mind reader, or that just because there were certain things that you started off the relationship, you can always work on the relationship and improve and be better and talk about things and how can we make the relationship happy. And that's what a lot of ladies don't do. you know Maybe what you saw from whoever you were, however you were raised, or the people around you, and etc. But as we get older, we need to have those conversations.
Oh,
um,
yeah.
I don't feel seen, or I don't feel heard, I don't feel supported, and those things. And it's not just us, just saying, oh, I'm just not going to say anything, like you said earlier, Miss Nexie.
Yeah, because it's easier to ignore that, humongous elephant in the room. And we're so busy with raising the kids and the daily, day-to-day life. The last thing you want is come home and, create chaos and or, turn anything on that you're probably gonna need a week to resolve, right? To get over it. So for me, it was easier just to not say anything, go along, keep the peace as long as I could. And when I couldn't anymore, or, or everything just, I wasn't willing to, that's when, we parted ways. I don't regret that. I really don't. I think that sometimes, well, sometimes I think that I was ready to let go of that relationship way, at least a decade before I did it. At least a decade, Miss Marlene.
Wow, Miss Nexie. So I there's so much questions in my mind when you say a decade. What
Hmm.
what made you stick in there for that decade and not want to walk away? Uh, I just got
Okay.
so many questions. I
um.
know I'm not the only one. I know a lot of people are like, "What, a decade?"
Oh yeah, probably more. Our kids started becoming teenagers. I
Mhm.
didn't want to disrupt their studies and their path. And I knew that if something like this, like if I would have decided at that point to break up the family, go my way, he goes his way, whatever, it would have interrupted our kids. So I held on a little bit because of that. And then, we have a child with special needs, right? And when you have a child with special needs, you need help. a lot of help. And so I was going through the motions of making sure my child was getting the right therapy, the right education, that, his services were being rendered, that he was making progress in school. I was working full time. I was going to school. I was so busy that, years went on without me actually saying, I don't like this relationship, and I got to get out of it. Like, I will put it in the back of my mind. No, not right now. It's not time right now. Not the time. Not the time. Not the time. Once our kids, started going to, university, they moved out. My one of our kids went to the army, and just our special needs child stayed. That's when I was like, okay, this is the time. This is the time to do this. And then, what he did helped me not have any second thoughts. So I got out. But it had been a very, very long time that I wasn't happy. And part of it is my fault because I wasn't voicing my unhappiness, right? But
Yeah.
those are some of the reasons why, Miss Marlene. And those, I know you have a lot more questions, but those are the two main ones are, our regular children and our special needs.
Hmm. Yeah, Miss Nexie. And everything is with respect. Everybody has different stuff going on in their relationship. And I could never assume I know what other people are dealing with and going through. But let's be honest, ladies, a lot of times we hang in there, and you hang in there. You're being the good wife or the good girlfriend. You're being the good, oh yeah, and the best for your kids. And you're doing all of this, and you're making sacrifices for the relationship. And there'll be so long that you will be so unhappy, and it gets to the point where, like, you're in a relationship and it's like they don't even care that you're unhappy anymore.
And you don't care either, because that's another thing that I wanted to say right now. I was gonna insert myself in your conversation, but you said they don't even care. Yeah, but so neither did I. Like, I didn't care if he was
Mm.
happy, not happy. I didn't care if I was happy or not happy at that moment. Like, I didn't care. I was just going, through the motions, because my thinking was, oh my God, if we do this right now, you know, college needs to be paid, right? um my son school needs to be taken care of now, divisions of assets and things like that.
Mhm.
So I was waiting more for, like, okay, let him get out, and then we can think, you know the right properly how we're gonna do this. And so, but yeah, there's a point where you don't care. Like, you're like two strangers that know each other living in the same place. I don't know if that makes any sense,
Mhm.
Miss Marlene. I really do not know, because two strangers that know each other, it doesn't make sense. But that's exactly how it is. We were two strangers because I didn't know who he was. He didn't know who I was. We were living here. We knew each other because we had our children. But that's not the person that I married, and I wasn't the person that he married.
Yeah. You know, one of the things, Miss Nexie, that a lot of people don't talk about is that the person that you were when you got together with them is not the person that you don't like that person after you mature, after you have standards and boundaries and you want things for yourself, or when you start seeing who the person has grown into be or has always been. It's like the light goes on and you're like, who is this?
Yes. Yes. And again, especially Miss Marlene, if you get married young, right? You
Mm.
don't know yourself. You married someone that, like, and that you just met, and maybe 6 months into a relationship you decide to get married. So when you do things like that, by the time you're in your 30s, you're not that little girl that married this person. And as women, we mature faster, right? We grow and mature faster than men do. So, and I'm not, this is not anything against men. I'm just saying, because I have brothers too. And we girls were more mature than my brothers, who were probably 10, 15 years older than
Yeah.
us. You know how brothers are. But
Yeah.
but a lot of the time, and this is where, again, Miss Marlene, I'm not saying that relationship ended just because of him. No, it didn't. I will be a hypocrite if I will blame everything on him. I also, you know, I wasn't confused. I just got comfortable, as our topic says it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got comfortable with not caring. I got
Yep.
comfortable with just focusing on my kids, doing everything I needed to be done for them, protecting them, making sure they were I was raising them right, and forgot that I also had a partner and
Mm-hmm.
didn't care that he probably needed me as much as I needed him.
Mm.
And the thing here, Miss Marlene, and again, we are good friends with my ex-husband because we have children, right? I'm sure that if
Mhm.
we didn't, I wouldn't be giving him time of day. That's what he tells me. No, he tells me, he's like, you know what? I know you still hang around and talk to me because we have kids, but I'm afraid that if we didn't, you wouldn't give me the time of day.
I'm not gonna say nothing.
Oh no, no! Now I do. I say, yeah, you're right. I wouldn't. I mean, someone like you wouldn't even be wouldn't even be my radar. I don't even know why I
Yep.
married you. But let's not go into sad topics. No, we talked, and finally we had time to. I had time to go through my feelings, to get over the anger, the resentment, as I said before, that revenge that you wanna have on that
Mhm.
person, the bad memories. I got rid of all that because he allowed me to desensitize and to process the breakup of our marriage, the breakup of our family, the grief that I was going through because now they're gonna get married, we're gonna have grandkids, and they're gonna have to go visit two different houses for their grandparents, right? So yeah, he allowed me to go through all the processes because I told him, I said, I need to get over this because I don't want us to be linked in a court battle for assets and divisions of this, divisions of that, time with the child support, spouses. I don't want to be dealing with that. Let me get a cold heart and a clear head so that we can sit down and hash this out without having the judge or the courts decide
Mhm.
what we have to do or whatever. I don't like that. I don't like people deciding what I need to do. So I thank them for that because it took us a very long time to get to the fact that we are the divorce was processed barely last year. It was finalized last year, and we've been separated for 18 years.
Wow.
Yeah, but we knew I'm a very responsible person. So I knew that my responsibility was the family house. He has his own place, his house. So we never did anything that will hurt, harm, or put anyone in danger when it came to losing a house or try to be a fast, thinker and not pay the mortgage. We never did that. We always had clear heads when it came to taking care of our children's, inheritance in the future or assets, whatever, for their future. And for ours too, right? Because, we're still young. But thanks to that, I was able to have the courage, Miss Marlene, because and again, I thank you so much because coming here, doing our sip and chat, sometimes what our chatters type, give us ideas or say, hey, I haven't. Oh wow, that's a
Mhm.
beautiful thing that this person just said because I haven't gone there yet, right? Or maybe I should do that. or yes, I felt that way. So a lot of the things that I have been able to process, and that I finally had the courage to accept my fault and to ask for forgiveness.
Mm.
I finally had that ability to do that. Before, I couldn't get myself to do that. I don't know why. I just couldn't, because I was still, I guess, upset. I don't know.
You
But
weren't ready. You
I
weren't
wasn't
ready.
ready. Yeah. And I think, again, this helps us process, when you talk about things, certain things, and then you put, yourself in, like, wait a minute, I also didn't say anything. So it wasn't just his fault. When we bring these topics, right? And then we go back to our childhood, and hey, even back then, I wouldn't say anything. I would just take it, you know,
Yes,
not. So
yes.
it helped me a lot to understand that there's two in the marriage, two in the divorce,
Mhm.
and two at fault, not just the one person.
Yeah, and I believe that that's the hardest part, Miss Nexie, is you have to have two people that are mature enough to say, I did this, or, I took you for granted. I didn't respect your feelings. I didn't give you support, because it happens. So much stuff happens. I know in my previous relationship, the thing that caused my downfall of my relationship is when my parents passed away, and then it was just like, there's no support. Like, do you need anything? It was just like cold, like ice. And I was like, what is going on? So that, for me, I think that killed all my romantic feelings. It's like, when that's me personally. If you're
Mhm.
going through something, if I don't have anybody that I can lean on, if you're not like, are you okay? Are you good? Can I do something for you? It's just like silence. It's like you could drop a pin. It's like, what? I was like, why am I here?
Y-
Why am I
y-
with you? This is
Oh,
foolishness.
oh my God, Miss Marlene, you just went somewhere that I didn't want to go. I do not like to ask for help, and I do not like to accept it either. I can do it. Don't. And in a marriage, relationship, partnership, whatever, togethership, whatever it is that we have with the other, our significant other, that sometimes, actually, no, that can kill that person's desire to help you, that person's desire to be of use to you, because I was constantly, no, it's okay, I got this. Oh, but let me help, I don't need it, and I can do it, I don't need your help. So I will shut that down and then complain, right, in my head, like, he's not even helping me now, like, I have all this, and the kids this, and the clothing is in the dryer, and I have to put another load, not even folded, and I haven't been here all day. But then, again, as the separation went on, I started realizing that many times, even if he wanted to help, I would refold it because it wasn't done the way I liked it. And then I would say, no, it's okay, don't do it, I'll do it because you don't do it right. So no matter how many times, right, he tried to help, I will say, no, it's okay, I got this, I don't need your help. I didn't
Mm.
mean it in a bad way or be mean or anything. I just, I don't like asking for or accepting. And that's something that I have had to work on, because you get so comfortable with your um, shortcomings, right? That you don't even realize how much you are damaging that relationship, with
Yeah.
your partner. That how many times did he feel bad or uncomfortable, or how many times was I that rude? You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
so that's the things that I had to go back in our relationship and work on. And then I had to accept the fact that I had a lot of responsibility on what happened in our marriage. It wasn't just him. Yeah, I
Mm,
changed, I grew up, but so did he. But because communication wise, we weren't there, I didn't care, and he learned not to care. We didn't know how much we have grown, and we
wow.
grew apart because since we didn't really talk about what was, again, the huge elephant in our room, we grew apart instead of growing together and towards one another.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things, besides money. Money is usually the biggest problem. And after that is like poor communication styles, because there's many ways to communicate. Body language, um, lots of acts of service. There's many things that you can do, but it has to be on both sides, Miss Nexie. It has
Mm-hmm.
to be on both sides, and you know how I do it. I'm never going to be on any of my platforms saying, "Oh, the woman is always right and it's this and they're not about nothing."
Uh-uh.
No, no. Mm-mm. A lot of times, ladies, we drop the ball and we don't speak up and say, "Hey, hey, babe, hey, honey," whatever you call them.
Mm-hmm.
So and so and so and so. Can we talk about this? Or, I'm feeling this way. Am I right? Is it just me? It's all of those things. Like, okay, he's not talking. Is he upset with me? It's having those conversations that you really don't like to have, but
Mm-hmm.
that's what keeps the relationship going. And it's like so many things. It's a whole bunch of little things that I can speak for myself that broke down my relationship. It's like a whole bunch of little things, and then like the last little thing, it was just like, I'm out.
And Miss Marlene, I like what you said, to let you know if you were the only one that feels that no support kills the romantic feelings. Um,
Mhm.
I'm a hyper focused person. So if there's my kids, I was super hyper focused on them. They were everything, right? And sometimes I have to be reminded, hey, it's not just this. There's a lot more on this side, right? There's other people here. Like, don't over focus on just that one part, that area of the building or whatever. And sometimes I say things that for me are direct to that person, as honest I can be, but I f- I don't even stop and think how they gonna receive those words, right?
Mhm.
And it does, Miss Marlene, having no support does kill the romantic feeling. But then again, it's both ways because I'm remembering, like, sometimes my ex will make plans and I will cancel last minute. One of the kids
Mm.
is sick, so I'm not gonna be able to go because he doesn't feel well or she doesn't feel well. And he will say, but mom is here, right? She can take care. It's okay. Go, no, I can't. I'm not gonna be okay. So we will end up canceling. And then, we'll go another time, but that resentment was already building there. And then I will plan something and then he will be okay with canceling as well. Or saying, I maybe next week, maybe we'll push it for like 2 weeks from now. Or Miss Marlene, I will start saying, oh my God, why this expensive place? It could have been
Mhm.
okay that the little hole in the wall next to where we live, like, why this expensive? So you start doing things like that, the lack of support for the little whatever nice thing that they did for you, it kills their feelings and yours as well.
Mhm.
Now, who did what first? It doesn't matter. The problem is that instead of fixing it, we get so comfortable that we just let it go, let it happen.
Yep. And it's like I said, it's a whole bunch of little things like, um uh, say for instance, oh, you got your hair done. was like, oh, so he doesn't notice me. And you may not say that, but in your mind, you're like, I like, hello, I got my hair done or I got my nails done. And I understand that that's not a man thing, but those simple things about noticing things about your woman, that's a
Mm.
big deal to women. And and sometimes men don't understand those things. I
And vice
can't
versa.
understand I can't understand the how men tick and what does things for them. I'm just speaking from a woman's perspective, that we do those assumption thing instead of saying, do you like my hair? What do you think about it? And things
Mhm.
like that will be like, just sit there. Oh, you're not gonna. Oh, okay. So he doesn't want to say nothing about my hair, and it's
Miss
just a bunch of petty stuff that
Miss
it's
Marlene.
stupid.
Okay. Or Miss Marlene. One time I remember years back, it was winter time, and I said, "Oh my God, oh, you shaved your beard. Oh wow. Did you just do that?" And he said, "No, I've been doing this for the past 2 weeks." And I was like, "Oh." In my head, I was like, I haven't looked at his face in 2 weeks, or am I just noticing the fact that he had done that? Right. So again, it goes both ways. I know that it's easier to just blame the other person for everything that is wrong in that relationship. And in the beginning, that's exactly what you do, right? That's exactly what
Mhm.
you do. You just, because you're so upset. And I think for me, Miss Marlene, I think the process of grieving the whole relationship, I think that I was more upset at me for
Mhm.
not voicing, my everything I had inside, when it was done could have fixed some things, right? Again, not that I, regret what we did, because we are where we are now, and still being parents of our children, still being, able to take vacations together. Our kids don't have to pick sides because we're in this together, regardless of how much he sometimes dislikes me or how much I sometimes dislike him. We can do all that, put our differences aside, because we have been able to overcome everything, and therapy has helped a great deal. I don't know if he has done it on his side, but I see a lot of things that he's speaking more now, and sometimes he says, I'm sorry because blah 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 blah, and I dropped the ball here, or I'm sorry I left you the whole responsibility of our special needs child. I'm sorry I was gone so much that you had no time for you. You had no breathing time, and I am so sorry for that. And I'm like, whoa. And that is progress, especially coming from that person.
Yeah. I can, and I have to give, big respect and shout out to, personal growth and development. And Miss Next, I can say in my previous relationship, I know that I was the weakest link, because it was about me, you know? And I honestly, it was about me. And I was like, I'm this and me that and me, and I'm not seen and I'm not heard and this, right?
It's
But
all
at the
about
same,
you.
yeah, but at the same time, you have to also be like, what is he going through? What is he dealing with? You cannot have two people on you're living in the same home, same space, and you're not communicating the breakdowns and feeling that you're not seen and heard and loved and supported. Because eventually, if you stop feeling that seen, heard, and supported, you know what happens. One or both of you are going to leave and find somebody who will.
Yeah. Yes and no. Again, everybody does things differently. I'm not trying to tell people what to do, how to do, whatever. I don't.
Hmm.
That's not what I'm trying to say, Miss Marlene. But you know very well that I I have been alone for this past 18 years. And I had my marriage is done and that's it. I dedicated myself to the kids, work and whatever. And I'm done with that part of me, meaning building relationships with someone. Like I'm done. Like I don't want that. That's not what I want. What I want now is travel the world, go out to eat with my girlfriends, my kids, go check out on my grandkid and have fun with my special needs son. And so all those things is what make me happy. I like to be at my own leisure. I don't want people to be telling me what to do, how to do it, when to go, when to come. I don't want people stopping me from enjoying my life or bringing, their own little problems to my life. So I enjoy a lot being alone and but not completely alone, right? Just being alone and enjoying my time here in the now without having to worry about, oh my god, I gotta get up early to make breakfast, oh my god, I'm so happy, Miss Marlene. And that part of me ended when my marriage ended. This new me, it's all about me.
Yeah. But you know what, Miss Nexie, I have to say this, that after a relationship ends, whether it's your marriage or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, when the relationship ends, if you are mature enough, if you're healed, if you have some sort of spiritual and moral compass, you will take time to reflect, introspect. Okay, man, I was really rude. I was selfish. I didn't give them my time. I wasn't supportive. I didn't think about their sexual needs. Blase, blase. To go through
Mhm.
the whole list. And the reason that's important, whether you're going to be in another relationship or you're not, it also affects other relationships. When you
Yeah,
learn how to be a better individual and human being and compassionate, you also become a better sibling and friend and
yeah,
coworker, and on it goes. So
that's true.
that's one of the things that I learned when I started to, like, okay, Marley, it's not about you. Have you checked in? Do you ask? So it goes with the growth factor, Miss Nexie, of when you're young. I'm speaking for myself. When I was younger, as a little girl, it was all that's not what I saw. It reflected in women. Oh, you don't say anything, you don't, if you're upset, it's like I would see the women, if they're upset, they go in their room, they cry, and then I was like, but why didn't you tell him that he offended you? Or like, I remember one time specifically, my mom made a special dinner for my dad, right?
Hmm.
And he didn't call. He worked over at work, and when my dad came in, he just came in and went straight to his room, went to sleep.
Oh, wow.
So it's one of those things. And my mom is just one of those things that, like, back in the day, a lot of women, they would just eat that, absorb it. Like, well, he didn't know. I didn't tell him. Instead of be like, I thought you were coming home. You say you were gonna come home, blah, blah, blah. They didn't have those conversations. And why I bring that up is because even though you may personally have not done that, but when you see that, it's like in your subconscious, you're thinking that's normal, that's okay. If you don't like something, just don't say anything. And unknowingly, I brought that into my relationship because that's what I saw.
Mm.
And I had to learn to start doing a lot of unlearning, like, no, Marlene, that is toxic as you know what. So we're going to do something better. We're not going to go by what we see in society and other people. I had to start having conversations with myself. What do I like? What do I want? And how does the person that I'm with, do they feel seen and heard, and not just only looking at yourself in the mirror, but are we happy? Focusing on we, not just me.
Yeah,
Mhm.
there you go. There you go. That's the part again that a lot of times, as you are, you know, going through the relationship, is that you forget, and sometimes it even bothers you, right? If the other person brings up something that you don't want to talk about, or that you don't want to even think about. It didn't bother you, so you don't want to talk about it, and it bothers you that they bring it up, and you don't stop and think that maybe it bothered them. You're okay with it, that's fine, but maybe to them it was something a little bit more personal, but
Mhm.
you don't even want to be bothered with it. And again, that's the thing that happened to us, is that we were so busy, with the career, the kids, and everything, that we we didn't, and we have talked about this. We didn't even ask each other, are you happy here?
Mhm.
Do you still love me? Do I still love you? Like, we were talking like that the other day. He was like, I didn't even think of asking you, are you resting enough? Are you still in love with me? Do you still want to be with it? It didn't register. And I said to him, to me, it didn't matter. I didn't care whether you were here or not. That's as far as I went. Like, if he was gone for a month or two to whatever place they were sending him, I was okay with it. Oh, you're back. Cool. And that was it. Like, it wasn't like, oh my God, I'm going to miss you. And all those things, Miss Marlene, whenever those thoughts came to my mind, why am I not missing him? Like, why am I not more upset or saddened that he is gone, or that he's traveling more? Like, I every time a thought like that came to my head when we were in the middle of raising our kids, I will put it in the back. Put it in the back. Move it to the back. Not the time. Don't care. Let's deal with the task ahead. And so we were talking about that. And I said, we never really asked each other if we wanted to be in that relationship, or if we were doing a good job, in the relationship, not with our children, not with each other. We didn't even care. And he said, you know what? It's funny because I didn't start thinking about that, about how it affected you so much that I left you literally like 80% of that responsibility with the kids, you know, over years. It didn't even cross my mind to ask next year, are you okay with me doing this? Right? Next year, are you okay with me traveling so much because, the projects that I'm working on? He says, I didn't even think about that. I never put myself in your shoes.
Yeah.
And I told him, I didn't even know, in my case, I didn't even know if you wore shoes. So I didn't even go there. He's like, oh my God, so you were worse than I was. I was like, I didn't even know, so I didn't care. No, and it's true, Miss Marlene. We don't ask because I think that a lot of times you're not gonna like
The
the
response.
the response to your question, and you're not ready for that yet. I think you have to get yourself ready. And for me, again, it was getting my kids out, you know getting everything ready for asking those tough questions and looking at each other in our faces and say, yeah, we're done. There's
Yeah.
nothing here but friendship, right?
Yeah. If you can salvage a friendship, because I have to say sometimes it gets so far gone, Miss Nexie, that you look up one day and you be like, I hate him. I literally hate him. It's like I know my downfall in the relationship was when you look at them and you're happy. You're like, oh, good, he's gone. That's not good.
Miss Marlene, I in our case, we didn't have. I was not gonna give us a choice of not being friends again because we have children, right?
Mhm.
Marriages and grandkids. Again, we're gonna be in part of their lives for the rest of their lives or our lives, right? We have to be. We have to, and I told him this. We have to work to a place where we can be friends and be nice in front of our kids and celebrate things with them because we are their parents. We got to end the relationship going towards the divorce and everything else as friends. There was no other choice for me because my parents, when my mom and my dad got divorced, they never, Miss Marlene, spoke to each other again,
Wow.
ever. My father passed away. My mother never talked to him again. And it wasn't because of my dad, it was because of her. So I told them there's no choice here. We need to talk. We need to come to an understanding. I don't care how many years it takes, even if we fake it until we make it, right? In front of our kids. We have to have a friendship. You're my family, I'm your family, and we have to work things out for the best of our children. Not for us, because for me, if it's not there, I don't care. But I know that my son or my daughter, if dad cannot be in the same room because I'm there, it's gonna hurt them and it's gonna affect the entire family. Kids, grandkids, spouses. And that's I think that's dumb. I cannot be in the same room as her. Why not? You make those kids in the same room as her.
Yep.
So why can't you be in the same room? So we worked at it, and our son got married about 3 4 years ago, and we're sitting at the same table, we're enjoying taking pictures, dancing. We're still his parents. It has nothing to do with whether we love in each other or in love with each other or whatever. No, he is a good friend to me now and the father of my children. And I have to treat him with the respect that I want my children to treat him with.
And I think that's so good, Miss Nexie, because there's a lot of people that after the relationship is over, it's like I've seen it. Like your father's at the door, like they don't even go to the door and want to see them. Oh, I can't stand him, or
Yep.
vice versa. They don't deal with each other at all. Go, your mother is there, and that's not a good way to part ways. But circling back to this conversation about being comfortable in the relationship, I have to say that a lot of times when there's a comfortability in the relationship, that it can be a good thing. There's some
Mhm.
things you should be comfortable with in the relationship, like certain things like, okay, I know I don't have to do this or this because he's going to take care of that. There's good things to be comfortable with, but there's also things, Miss Nexie, that you should never be comfortable disrespecting one another. You should not be comfortable not showing up,
Yeah.
or assuming that, oh, they got it and they don't have it. you know you should never be comfortable not having good communication in a relationship, and that is the breakdown. Each of you could be assuming, well, everything's good, right? Well, they didn't say
Mhm.
anything, so it must be good.
Yeah, yeah. He didn't say anything. She didn't say anything. So I guess we're cool, right? We're all good. And
Yeah, and
Miss
it's like,
Marlene,
no,
it's
no.
not easy to like again when you say that, oh, there's your mother, go, oh, there's your dad, oh my god, such a loser. A lot of and I've heard it where I work at. I heard so many co-parents
Mhm.
talk so ugly about one another in front of the child, right? They will bicker in front of the child. And as much as I disliked and sometimes still dislike him, my ex, that's the one thing that I have, and because he has worked at it too, we have managed to, no matter how pissed off we are, how mad, how angry, how bitter, how, I don't know, to the point of where I could slap you right now, but I don't want to go to jail. I don't care how mad we are. We do it, in our own time, over the phone, in a room where nobody can hear. But I'm not going to tell my kids, oh, there's your, sorry dad, or your stupid dad, or
Yeah,
your
there's your
loser.
deadbeat daddy.
Yeah, your deadbeat daddy, or oh my God, there's your mom. Oh my God, go. Ugh, I don't want to see her. We don't do that because, again, we have to think about the trauma or whatever that is going to cause our children. And children shouldn't be used that way. They shouldn't be used as little pawns so you can, make each other miserable, because the point here is that the one that is going to be with all that trauma is the child.
Yeah, but the children are sponges. They absorb everything. So even if you haven't said certain things, kids know you haven't been happy for a long time. They know which one is pulling the weight in the relationship. Taking care and supporting them and all of that stuff. But even if you don't have children together and it's just was just the two of you, if you don't have like spending time together,
Yeah.
communicating, are you good? Do you need anything? Sometimes you just need to just be together, just chilling, like not
It,
even doing anything, just chilling, spending time. Are you okay? Are you okay? Having looking at each other in the eyes and not a text message or not an email or whatever, like real in person time talking about issues or talking about nothing, because it's something a lot of people take for granted. Oh, we've been together a long time, we're good. No, no, it's no. Don't say we're good because you haven't asked me.
and exactly. And Miss Marlene, the one thing I would like to say here too is that um getting comfortable with the relationship, sometimes you forget that your children are going to learn how to be husbands and how to be wives from the relationship that you have, that the parents have, right? If there's no communication, if there's nothing but, swear words, or disrespect, or lack of communication, or just going along with everything just so that there's no drama, they're going to learn to imitate that, right? So the more communication you have, the better, the clearer that relationship is, the better it's going to be for your kids, because they're going to learn to do that. And I'm telling you this because I was talking to one of my kids, and and that little one brought up, I mean, a little, he's, they're already adults, but it brought up that a trip that we went to, and then how, something escalated on their dad's side, and that my child said, it's funny because now that, you guys are not together, now I remember how many times you had to diffuse the situation, because he wouldn't stop, right? Unless you and say, okay, let's calm down, let's think about it, let's do this, or let me help you instead of that person, or let me see what I can do. And it kind of bothered me, because I was like, oh my God, I didn't think that they were paying attention to what was going on. But that child said, so, how many times you had to diffuse, you had to kind of like look the other way so that he eventually could be quiet, right? And not continue to protest, or bicker about whatever it is that was going on. How many times you had to say, okay, next time I'll do it so that it doesn't get to this point, blah, 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 blah. And how many times you had to give in. And I'm like, wow. So they do pay attention. So whatever it is that we do in the relationship, is Marlene, our children are gonna have to kind of unlearn certain bad behaviors that we have had. So what better than to talk about, the mistakes we made, in the hopes that we can help someone, our next generation, not make the same mistakes we did.
Hmm. And Miss Nexie, I have to say this, that a lot of times we'll say, "Oh, he doesn't know what I want. Oh, he's confused, or he doesn't understand." And people will play that like a game. "Oh, I don't know what she wants," or the lady will say, "I don't know what he wants." But if you both are not doing anything about it, if you're just saying, I don't know," or "I guess it's okay," then don't be surprised when you get divorce papers, or there's a breakup, or that person finds somebody else. Like, don't be surprised, because
Hmm.
a lot this is the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about. You know it's not good for a long time, but what you don't want to talk about is that the next shoe is about to fall.
Yep, that is true, Miss Marlene. I'm telling you, I was even, with whatever happened, I'm telling you, since I said in the beginning, I was actually relieved that he made that mistake, or he did what he did, because I was like, okay, finally, we can just separate, we can just divorce. Like, I was so done with that relationship, but I wasn't willing to take that first step to say, hey, I'm done. And no amount of therapy is going to fix this, because I am done. I wasn't willing to take that step to make that change, to make that move, to be that honest with him, right? So when the mistake was made by him, I was like, yes, I don't have to do anything. Now we just have to go get divorced, get separated, whatever, and I can breathe again. And that is sad, because I
Mm,
got happy at that moment instead of sad. But that's how done
yeah,
I was.
yeah. And I think it's terrible that it gets to when it's too far gone. And Miss Nexie, I can tell you one of the times, like, when I knew that it was over, like I said a little bit earlier, I put it in the chat. If you're in a relationship and you're happy when they leave, I remember I was like, good. That I was like, what? I was like, what? What? Why are you saying good? Like, I literally, and I had a smile on my face. I was like, yes. That's what I was like. Yeah, no,
Finally.
girl, no. We need to be doing
We
some
need to
work.
talk. We need
Yeah,
to talk. Girl, we need to talk with each other.
I was like, girl, you should not be happy that he just left. I was like, we got a problem. There's a problem. There's a
E-
breakdown here.
exactly. And it again, because you're not seeing the catastrophe that is coming your way, the impact of what is about to happen, right? When you're getting, divorced and whatever. For me, it was like, yes, oh, finally I can breathe. Oh, and then I started thinking, oh my God, I can watch my shows with no interruptions.
Yeah,
I
that's
can read my books without anybody bothering me. And anyway, but you don't stop and think that the reason why it happened, it has to do with you as well. Because it's easier for us to blame the person that made that mistake, right? Or the person that initiated the separation or the divorce. It's easier for us to say, well, he started it. So it's not me. I'm not the problem. He is, because he's the one that did this. He's the one that filed. He's the one that left. He's the one that did, or she's the one who got, you know, the divorce, or she's the one who left, or she's the one that made the mistake. So it's easier for us to focus on blaming that person, because once you start blaming you, it's very hard. It's a hard pill to swallow, because then you start seeing all the mistakes that you made.
yeah. But you know what, Miss Nexie, what I learned is, I think if you're in, no matter what the issue that you have going on in your relationship, if you are with the right person, it doesn't matter how much problems, how much situations, you each will be willing to work and do whatever in order to make it work. But when you're with the wrong person, one little thing, you're like, okay, bye.
Bye. I'll let you know when to sign. I'll let you know when the dotted line will be ready.
Yeah, because if you are with the right person, like it would literally, it will break your heart. Like, I cannot lose you. You'd be willing. Yes, let's do therapy. Let's talk. Let's communicate. Let's work on the relationship. But if you're both like, peace, see you, I don't care, whatever, that's not the right person
Yeah,
for you.
exactly. My grandparents, Miss Marlene, 65 years they were together. And it was so cute to see them because my grandpa will work in the farm, and my grandma around the house and whatever, and but they were always together, and you could see the understanding they had. Grandpa will make the coffee once he had free time from the farm, and grandma will bring out the toast or sweet bread, and they will sit together just outside, just sitting, drinking their coffee, talking. Grandpa will leave. And it was such a nice understanding that we never heard them, disrespect each other. There were arguments, right? If he couldn't find something, he'll be like upset, but it wasn't towards her. We never heard them being disrespectful to one another. And my grandpa, if he will see her outside and it was a little chilly, he'll run and get her a little sweater, a long sleeve or something, so that she wasn't cold, or get her the slippers or pair of socks. He will put them on for her. Or grandma, if she will see him like that, she will run over and get a sweater for him, or a little scarf, so that he wasn't cold, or his hat so his head wouldn't be cold. And it was so cute. They will go to bed together, the same routine. And they had one, two, three, 8 kids.
Mm.
They had 8 children together in 65 years. And they loved
Wow.
each other, and they die within like weeks of one another.
See, that's the stuff I'm talking about, and I feel like we should literally leave that for another sip and chat. Like, literally. Oh, thank you so much. Always, she gave 5 gifted memberships. Thank you. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it.
Yay.
Yeah. So I feel like that is like a really big deal, Miss Nexie, is, having that communication and talking about the breakdowns, and and there's something to be said about aging in a relationship, which I feel that would be really good to talk about in the next sip and chat. Like, aging in the relationship, like the things that you did when you were like, whatever, early your 20s and things. But what do you do when, like, 70s and 80s and stuff?
No,
I-
don't go too far, Miss Marlene. I'm sorry to interrupt. Don't go too far. What you did on your 20s and how you feel now in your 60s. Just don't go too far. We can talk about that next time. Well, it's a good way, a good segue. Like, just end it here and we'll talk about that next time, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. But before we go, I have to say this. This conversation was talking about ladies. He wasn't confused. He was comfortable, right? But like we were talking about earlier, you got to communicate. Like, a man cannot read your mind, and of course, it goes on both sides. Yeah, gentlemen, if you got something to say, say it. Talk about, communicate. And I understand that we don't all communicate the same way. We all have cultural, previous relationships, a lot of reasons why we act the way we act. But if you really love somebody, you want the relationship to last, you will step outside of your comfort zone and do what's necessary in order to save your relationship and be happy and, do all of
Yeah.
those cutesy things.
Yeah, and I will add to that, ladies, we didn't confuse them. We made them be comfortable. I'm going to say it that way, Miss Marlene, because I'm talking from my perspective, right? My part of that relationship. When you don't want to talk about what's going on in that relationship, or you don't make the time or the effort or initiate any conversation, avoid as much as you can, like I did. um we make them comfortable with that. Okay, she, I guess it's okay because she doesn't want to talk about it, so I'm okay, I'm comfortable with that. Because a
Mhm.
lot of I have brothers, a father, and in-laws, brother-in-laws, and a lot of men don't like to talk about feelings and stuff like that, right? They don't like to go there. But if it's a woman like me, he wasn't. I didn't confuse him. I made him comfortable. That was my fault because I didn't make the time to say, you know what, I am feeling this way. I need to talk to him because if I'm feeling this way, he probably is, or if it's not, then at least I'll get it out there. But
Mhm.
I did not. I don't know. I didn't see the point. It was so weird. So again, it's not all about men are um confused or men are comfortable with certain things. No, sometimes it's our fault because we
Yes.
don't want to go there. As their significant other, as their partner in crime, or spouse, whatever it is that we are to them. It's our fault sometimes because we don't want to open that chapter. We don't want to open that conversation because we are afraid of what's coming our way. And that was me, Miss Marlene. And I admitting it here with you. That was
Oh
me.
boy, I
I
didn't
think
hear
that
you.
that
Did
was
I?
me.
Did I really hear you? Did I
No,
really
you
hear you
didn't.
say?
That wasn't me. That was, I don't know who said that. But yeah. So again, it's not that people are comfortable or that they're confused. Sometimes it takes two to get comfortable, and it takes two to bring confusion into the relationship.
Mhm.
So let's work on that communication. Find the time, the place, even if it's a 10-minute conversation at night before you go to bed. Sometimes those are the best because they stay in your brain and you can process them in the night and you can find a better resolution. It's like when you read a book, right before you go to bed. So sometimes even just a 10-minute conversation, it's hard, and it's very scary because you're opening something that you're probably not ready for, but that can either make or break that relationship, strengthen it or just weaken it all the way. So have those conversations so that if you're not with the right person, then you can let go and find the right person for you, find your lobster.
Yes.
Thank you for
Mm.
having me, Miss Marlene. That's what I have to say. Thank you for having me, and everyone. Thank you for listening to this crazy lady rambling there. But thank you for having me and for supporting Miss Marlene.
Thank you so much, Miss Nexie. And my final words is, ladies, you know, don't be afraid to say what you want. I had to learn to say, today I just need you to put your arm around me. Sometimes you just need a hug. Sometimes I just need you to listen to me while I rant. We assume a lot of times because we're women, they should know we're together. They should know how I feel, and don't work that way. It has to be mutual. And of course, everything that I say about ladies, it applies to gentlemen as well, because we don't do any of that, one-sided stuff over here. We're healthy over here. We communicate, and we're growing and learning, and that's what healthy relationships do. You should be open enough to say, I'm hurt right now, or I'm sad, and this is what I need from you as my partner to support me. Yeah, that's what we're doing over here. positive support and love. Um, Always with respect. So thank you so much, Miss Nexie. I appreciate you guys. This was an awesome sip and chat. I really enjoyed it. Thank you, everybody in the chat.
Me,
I
Miss Marlene.
appreciate all of you loved ones. And we will be back like the light bill.
Every month.
We will be back like the light bill.
On a monthly basis, people, on a monthly basis. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you, everyone, for your support. And don't forget to hit that like button. And Miss Marlene, have a wonderful weekend. Everyone else, chatters, have a wonderful weekend. I hope you guys rest, enjoy, eat, and just have fun. Desensitize from the week.
Yep.
Thank you,
Oh,
Miss Marlene.
you're welcome. Oh, Miss Nexie, I can't leave. You saw the comment always putting this ain't nothing like a little pillow talk.
Did you see what I responded? Always. I said always. Oh my god, my god. No, no, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. That's why
Yeah.
I put that like and then I the laughing face because I thought it was funny. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
pillow
she's
talk
not
is good.
wrong. She's not wrong. She's not wrong. Ain't nothing wrong with a little pillow talk. But anywho, we'll leave that for another conversation.
Hey, that's another topic. Pillow talk. Thanks to
Yes.
always.
Yep. Thank you guys. See you guys back on the next sip and chat next week, and Sunday we'll see you from a from my heart to yours episode. Bye guys.
Bye,
Have a great
everyone.
rest of your day and your weekend. Bye.
Bye, James. Bye, Miss Marlene.
Bye.